So this is a central point that I do not want you to miss because it's crucial to understanding Pergamos. Their historical background, their historical tradition, and what they did is highly indicative of the time period that is covered by the Church of Pergamos. What did Pergamum do? The kingdom of Pergamum. They donated and created the goddess of Rome, the patron goddess of Rome, Roma, that came out of Smyrna, the neighboring city. And then in Pergamos, they established emperor worship, and then it was King Attalus III who donated in his will the entire kingdom of Pergamos to the Roman Republic. Every other part of the Greek world was conquered by Rome. The Seleucids were conquered by Rome. The kingdom of the Ptolemies was famously conquered by Rome in the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. Of Athens and the kingdom of Macedonia was just taken by force by the Roman Republic. But the kingdom of Pergamum was given to Rome. And that is a crucial point. Now hear me out. Pergamum gave to Rome the goddess of Rome, the patron goddess Roma, and then also the gift of emperor worship. They did that, and they got a great standing in the city of Rome, in the Roman Empire. They had a great privilege because of what they gave. And the monetary gain, the material gain that Pergamum got out of this is highly indicative of what we're going to see in the seven churches. So you've got religion being donated to a political power for gain. Keep that in mind. But as far as the religious contribution that Pergamum gave to Rome, the biggest and the greatest and the most enduring and the most significant was that of the Mithras. And this is where it gets a little bit weird. So the worship of Mithra was very popular among the Roman military. And I want you to notice that Mithraism actually gets incorporated into Christianity. So the god Mithra, you know when his birthday is? December 25th. He also was a sun god, and he was worshipped on Sunday. And we're going to see this god, Mithra, incorporated into early Roman religion. And the Mithraism grew up at the same time as Christianity, basically. Now, Mithraism is much older, but we're going to see that in the Roman Republic, and later the Roman Empire, Mithraism starts rising in power the same time that Christianity does. Also in Mithraism, not only is the god Mithra born on December 25th, also Mithraism was a secret cult, and that's why we don't know a lot about it. They didn't leave behind a lot of writings. All that we know about it is from archaeology. But they also had a ritual meal where they would eat bread and drink wine, and they considered it to be the literal body and blood of the god Mithra. And they would have these secret meals in these strange underground rectangular buildings that were very, very confined. If you were claustrophobic, it wouldn't work out too good for you. So a lot of the early Christian writers write about Mithraism. They condemn it because they don't want to be associated with sun worship. But we're going to see that in the Roman Empire, before it turned Christian, it started adopting a lot of the principles of Mithraism. And then later on, when the Roman Empire starts flirting with Christianity and actually becomes Christian, we're going to see some of those things kind of being incorporated into Christianity. We see a lot of this synchronism between Mithraism and Christianity beginning in the days of Constantine in particular. You know, the Arch of Constantine was not ever really examined up close until recent times. And on his victory arch, you know, when he celebrated his victory over Maxentius, if you look at all the figures, it's a celebration of Mithra. And on his coins, he had himself portrayed as Mithra, having the beams of the sun coming out of his head. He's the one who established a celebration every Sunday called the Great Venerable Day of the Sun, the celebration of Solus Invictus. Now, in order to get the fullest picture of the Church of Pergamos, and I know we haven't even gotten into the text yet, but setting this up is highly important, we need to look at the companion book of Revelation, and that is the book of Daniel. We will study the book of Daniel in depth after we finish the book of Revelation, but it will be highly instructive and beneficial if we look at an overview of the book of Daniel and see the parallels and see what I just told you about the history of Pergamos and Rome played out, spelled out in the book of Daniel. So if you go to Daniel chapter 2, the Babylonian king Nebuchadnezzar, he dreams a dream, and no one could understand the dream. He called forth all the sorcerers, the Chaldeans even, the necromancers, the ones who were able to talk to the dead and everything, and all the astrologers, the ones who looked for signs in the sky, all the wise men that he had found from all over the world, because he had conquered so many kingdoms. He brought them there together, and he said, "Now, could you please tell me my dream?" They couldn't tell him his dream. And so he's like, "You know what? Y'all are frauds. Screw this. Screw religion. I don't even think y'all are real if you can't tell me what I dreamed. You're supposed to be psychics. Get your crystal ball out. Tell me something, you know?" They said, "O king, no one can tell you this, but those that whose dwelling is not in flesh, but is with the gods." And he's like, "Isn't that your job, to tell me what the gods are thinking and what the gods know? Enough with you. You're dead." And so a death decree went out to kill all the wise men of Babylon. Now, among the wise men of Babylon was a young man, Daniel, and his three friends, Azariah, Mishael, and Hananiah, better known as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, because Nebuchadnezzar had given them Babylonian names. They were included among the wise men of Babylon. They were of the royal seed. And so when it came time to have them executed, that Daniel said, "Hey, hold up a second. You never really asked us. You never asked us about our God. You never asked our opinion on this. If you give us some time, our God, Jehovah, the God of heaven and earth, the creator God, will reveal to you your dream." And so Daniel and his friends have a prayer session, and guess what? God reveals the dream to Daniel. And in Daniel chapter 2, verses 31 through 35, he recounts the dream. And he says, "O Nebuchadnezzar, your dream is this. You saw a vision of a statue, an image." And I can imagine Nebuchadnezzar leaning forward and saying, "Oh yeah, that's right." And Daniel goes into the details. He says that there's a head of gold and chest and arms of silver, legs of iron and feet of iron and clay. And then a rock that was cut without hands comes and smites the image on the feet, and the whole image is destroyed. And Nebuchadnezzar is like, "Yes, that's it. You got it. So now what does it mean?" And Daniel said, "O king, live forever. I want you to know something. You are this head of gold." Nebuchadnezzar was probably like, "Okay, I knew I was top dog, but now it's confirmed in a dream by Jehovah, this new God that can tell the future better than all my other ancient wise men. Okay, what else?" And he said, "Well, after you, another kingdom will arise, a kingdom of silver that's inferior to you." And he probably thought, "Oh, no." And then Daniel continues, and he says, "After the kingdom of silver will the belly and thighs of bronze on the image, that kingdom will take over the kingdom of silver. And then after that, there will be a kingdom of iron that will take over the kingdom of bronze, the legs of iron. And then finally, the iron will be divided in the feet, and you'll have the feet part of iron and part of clay. And in the feet, there will be the strength of the iron, but the weakness of the clay." And Daniel goes on explaining the vision. He says the kingdom in the feet of iron and clay will be partly strong and partly weak or brittle. And then he says that they will try to unite their kingdom through intermarriage, but it will fail. There will never be a worldwide kingdom. He's saying, those feet of iron and clay, the kingdom will be divided, and then the rock that is cut without hands will smite the image on its feet. So what Daniel just did was drop the most incredible apocalyptic bomb of a prophecy that has ever been seen since there was a religion. I don't know of any prophecy this great. This is the foundational prophecy of apocalyptic literature in the Bible. And by the way, other religious texts do not have prophecies like this. I've read the Quran, beautiful book, but no apocalyptic prophecies, especially in the details that are in the Bible. I've read some of the Hindu writings, no prophecies. Buddhists, no prophecies. But the God of the Bible tells us that he knows the future. In Isaiah chapter 46 and 43, he says, I am the God who knows what's going to happen in the future. I tell you about tomorrow before it happens. Jesus also, when he was on this earth, he says, hey, I'm telling you things before they happen. He predicted everything that was going to happen to him. His disciples weren't listening, though. But, so the God of the Bible knows the future, and Daniel chapter 2 is one of the greatest evidences of it. Now let's look at the basic interpretation of Daniel chapter 2.